It seems to be more of a problem or a gap in, the structural checks and balances within government. Brian, is this a governance issue, and how then do we bridge this gap and ensure we have the legitimate or correct checks and balances that we need as a people?
It's both a governance issue and a legal issue here, because as we said that members of parliament need to show what they have been able to do, and because there's no actually strong legal framework to put them into task, to be accountable to the people. That's why they can actually miss even as many times as possible in terms of attendance in the house. Right. And nobody, especially Wanjiku and the Kamau, are not able even to raise a finger on whether they are really participating fully in terms of matters of what they were sent into that house to do. But I also want to say that as my colleagues said, that we also need to ensure that we put them into task so that they can create legislative or regulations which are able to offer an environment which is conducive to produce or to give the country a lot of money that will be able also to sustain their parks when they retire. Because, for example, when I talked about the issues some time ago about the ways of doing business in Kenya. Mm-hmm. For somebody to operate or to open a new company, whether a foreigner or an individual or a citizen here, it takes quite longer than expected. It takes longer than in other countries such as Mauritius and Rwanda. And if members of parliament were able to come up with the drastic measures to ease business for foreigners and also citizens here within, it will also ensure that or resonate with more production in terms of the KRA being able to net more profits and more tax. And that will also be able to go to the exchequer so that members of parliament, when they retire, and other state officials or public officers are able to get these gratuities without putting pressures on the economy. But when the flow or the cash flow to the exchequer is very little, then the moment that you take 3.2 billion to give gratuities to these retiring officers, then you are putting a lot of pressure to the economy. And that's something that needs to be looked into as far as fiscal discipline is concerned, so that we have this kind of prudence in terms of ensuring that the amount that goes out is commensurate with the amount that comes in, and also it's able to leave the economy in a more stable way. But I also have an issue with also the kind of parliamentary system that we do have here in Kenya. Of course, being a presidential system, you realize that we have very little opportunity or legal framework which is able to put the government of the day into checks and balances, because this is a government that almost regulates itself with a weak regulation within itself, because we do not have an opposition to counter or to look into the activities. The only position which is able to offer that kind of oversight, being an opposition sort of position, is actually the minority leader, who is Bandi. Is he able to marshal enough support from the opposition to put checks and the balance on the government in terms of expenditures, in terms of its physical prudence, and in terms of delivery from these members of our assembly? If the answer is no, then we have to look into a system where we are able to have a stronger opposition which is able to look into financial prudence, service delivery, and also ensure that members of parliament are able to, commit to deliver what is they are supposed to do. And also